Alright, so today we're going to be taking a look at my minimalist home screen setup on my iPhone that I have been using for about the past 6 months. Now I know for a lot of people minimalism means less or not having many apps on your home screen, but for me I'm looking at minimalism more from the way of encouraging productivity and really only apps that I can use to be and have a productive day. So let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, so as you guys saw, I have quite a bit of apps on my home screen and also quite a few widgets. Now I know, like I mentioned before, a lot of the minimalism setups or minimalist setups have very little apps and probably even no widgets, just to have maybe 4 or 5 apps on the home screen. But for me, I use all of these widgets constantly and daily to tell me about the weather, look at my upcoming events for the day or the next day, and then I also use the batteries app to make sure that all of my devices are charged and I can constantly see what my Apple Watch or my AirPods are at once I connect them. Now I also have the calendar app here, which gives me kind of like a short overview of what my day is going to look like. It always shows me my event that is coming up and what times I'm going to be in that event. But we'll go ahead and touch more on this once I get to the productivity folder here on my home screen. Now as you guys can see, I do have quite a bit of apps on my home screen, but I've organized them all into folders so that when I click on a folder, I know exactly what I'm really looking for. Now aside from those apps, I also have quite a bit of other apps, but again with iOS 14 and the app library, I keep most of them in the app library and I don't really need for them to be on my home screen because they're not apps I'm constantly using. Now with that said, in the app library, I honestly rarely use it. I rarely go and look at the folders that are made for me by Apple, and I honestly just scroll down, use the search function to look for any app that I want to use. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump to the first folder on here, which is productivity. And as you guys can see, I am using all of the original iOS apps. I have my notes on here, I have my calendar, and I have the mail app. Now the reason I'm using all of these is because I've seen a lot better integration with the iPhone iOS apps along with my Mac OS apps. I do enjoy that every time I open an app on my iPhone. If I'm also by my desktop, I can simply click on the little icon on my Mac and then that'll open up whatever app I'm looking at on my iPhone. Now with the calendar app, as I have mentioned before, that's how I usually plan out my days. I look at what I have coming up on the weekends so that if anyone asks me for plans, I can just simply pull it up and know exactly what I'm going to do. Now I have the notes app as well on here, which is mostly used to write out my YouTube scripts and then also to just write down any notes. Now the third one is the mail app, and I'm using that one just for all my emails. I do like that you can just put in anything from Google, Yahoo, or any other email you have, and then just keep them all in one simple app. Now my second folder is my business folder, and as you can guess, that's where I keep all my business apps. The top 3 apps I have on here are everything from Squarespace, so my Squarespace app, the analytics app, and also my commerce app. Now I use all these 3 to track all my orders, look at what my analytics are saying, what pages people are visiting the most, and then my Squarespace app, I use it in case I want to make any quick edits. As you guys can guess, the Squarespace app itself isn't really to make any huge changes or build your whole website because it would kind of be difficult. So I only use this in case I need to make a quick change on either inventory or I need to remove a product or anything like that. Now the other 2 apps here are the Gmail app and the Sheets app. Now I have been using the Gmail suite to keep track of all my emails and then also all my expenditures and really log all of my sales and all my expenses for my business using Google Sheets. Now I use Gmail just to keep my personal email from my work email or my business email separate. That way, if I ever get a notification from my Gmail app, I know it has to be attended whenever I get to work on the business. Now my next folder is my Instagram folder. And on here I have everything related to Instagram and anything related to really all my pictures that I take and everything that I upload to my Instagram or Facebook. Now I use Instagram to connect a lot with my audience and my customers. So if you don't follow me, my Instagram is NERDGRAFX. I'll go ahead and put a link down in the description so you guys can follow me. That's really where I comment on stories, I post my own stories, and I really connect with everyone else. Now my Facebook app, I rarely use it, but it is on here, and that's mostly just to keep up with what's going on with my friends' lives or my family's lives, because most of them aren't on Instagram already. Now I have the app here, and I actually don't have a subscription with them. I just use it to plan out how my feed is going to look depending on what pictures I post next, and that really helps me plan out a week's worth of pictures. That way I can go ahead and jump onto the business suite from Facebook, which it's also an app, and that's what I use to schedule things because it is free, and I figure that it works better because it's part of Instagram and Facebook itself. And the last app I have on here, which I rarely use, is actually the Lightroom app, and I have that on here as my editing app of choice when I'm on the go, but I rarely use it because I mostly use Affinity Photo on my desktop to edit and then publish any of my pictures that I've taken for the NERDGRAFX Instagram. But it is there because I feel like it's one of the best apps that's free, and it allows you to really edit a lot of stuff on your photos. So I have used it before, but it's mostly for either a story or a quick photo that I need to shoot from my personal Instagram a while back. Now the next folder is actually my YouTube folder, and I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. I have my YouTube Studio app so that I can check all my analytics and also respond to comments if I need to. And then the YouTube app where I watch most of my content, and then I can also interact with my audience and all of my viewers. And the last folder, which is sitting here on the bottom right corner, is going to be my shop folder. And I only have 3 apps on here because it's mostly where I buy all my tech, all my accessories, everything else related to my setups. And that is the Best Buy app, the Amazon app, and then the OfferUp app. And as I'm sure you guys know, these are places where you guys can just shop around, buy anything you would like. I use Best Buy for most of my tech. I use Amazon for all of its accessories. And then I use OfferUp to really look around what a piece of tech could actually cost used. Sometimes I sell my tech so that I can afford the newer tech. And then I go ahead and just rinse and repeat every 6 to 12 months whenever the newest tech is out. And lastly but not least are my 3 most used apps on the home screen, which are Safari, Photos, and my Spotify app. And I pretty much use them to web browse, to look at all the photos I've taken or all the photos I'm going to post, and then Spotify for any music I want to listen to while I'm working or while I'm commuting anywhere else. Now the bottom row of my homepage are all of my apps that I use constantly and daily. They're my phone app, which I obviously use to make and receive calls, my camera app to take any pictures whenever I don't have my camera with me. Now you might be wondering why I have 2 messaging apps, and that is because I use Messenger to message with my wife. We started using Messenger back when I had an Android and she used an iPhone, and then once I got my iPhone, we decided that we weren't going to use iMessage. Now I know a lot of people moved to iPhone simply because of that blue bubble on iMessage, but we never really cared, and we had already gone in the habit of using Messenger, so we just stuck with it. And the main piece that really holds everything together or gives it the look I want is a wallpaper. And I honestly just went on Google and Googled minimalistic light blue wallpaper, and this was one of the top ones, and I enjoyed how it looked. And yeah, you guys can go ahead and get it too. I'll go ahead and post it in the description. Go ahead and click on that if you want this wallpaper. It really gives it a nice cool tone look to my iPhone, and I really enjoy it. Now I know a lot of these apps you can use and really spend hours on just scrolling through, such as Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, but I don't really use these apps as social media. I use it more as a connection between me and my customer or me and my friends, rather than using it just to scroll through and look what other people are doing. Now that is not to say that I don't do that, but I use these apps mostly as a productivity factor for me. And then I also have all these apps on my home screen because, as we all do, I spend a lot of time on my phone. So whenever I open up my phone and go to my home screen, I'd like to think that you click on the first app you see, or you click on the first thing you see. And with all these apps being on my home screen, I'm hoping that I click on one of these rather than going out and looking for an app that I waste a lot of time on. But anyways, that's my home screen setup. I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys did, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for any of my future uploads, and I'll go ahead and see you guys on the next one.